4-day work weeks, huge hot topic button right now. Is it workable? Is it not? Do people want it? Do companies want it? Do candidates or employees want it? So it's pretty common in some countries in Europe and New Zealand, and it's becoming actually not just like on the tiny bit on the radar, but it's becoming a really hot topic here in North America as well. And I think that's largely due to the pandemic. Employers saw that employees can work from home and be trusted. So now it's not such a leap to think about condensing into a 4-day work week. There's pros and cons to both, and from the employer and employee's perspective. And we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what those are. The 2-day weekend began less than about 100 years ago and really became an integral and accepted way of life since the Great Depression. But during the pandemic, when people were stuck at home and working from home, and stress levels became very difficult to manage, and a lot of burnout rose dramatically, there was a lot of incidences of people just quitting their job. They were either close to retirement and decided, you know what, we're just packing it in a couple of years early, or people had the means to work with one salary, or there were also many benefits offered to people who were unemployed during the pandemic. All this led to the Great Resignation and quiet quitting and all the other trends that we have seen, and even some rage applying as well. On the flip side, employers saw that they could trust their staff to work from home, and many employers then put in hybrid policies or work from home policies. And now we are seeing those policies slowly shift to 4-day work weeks, especially in Europe. It's really prevalent there. They've made the shift away from a 5-day work week with a 2-day weekend to 4 intense 10-hour days. What are the pros? What are the cons? So some of the cons is putting in 4 10-hour days can lead to burnout. It can lead to employees being exhausted. It can, some people it's too long a day. It's too much. One of the other cons is that it can lead to customer dissatisfaction. Let's say your employee's on a 4-day work week, but you're not shifting them around. Everyone is working Monday to Thursday, but on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, your clients and customers need to get in touch with you, and no one is there. That can lead to dissatisfaction, especially in a world where you can click on an item on the internet and have it delivered to your house the next day. People really want instant gratification. And if they have an issue, they want to be able to reach out to somebody immediately. I am totally guilty of that too. I am a big instant gratification person. It can also lead to product delays, because if your team is on a tighter schedule, sometimes it's harder to meet and it's harder to collaborate. It might be harder to juggle a 10-hour day within daycare hours that are geared towards the 9 to 5, 8 to 4 work day. It can also lead to more disconnection, because maybe you can't reach out to people as much. You're not having as many meetings, which many people see as a good thing, but sometimes those meetings are necessary to build the cohesiveness, whether they're in person or by Teams or Zoom. However, there's many, many more pros. And studies have been done and shown productivity generally rises. People are more committed. They love condensing their work week and then having a 3-day weekend. The pros of the 3-day weekend is you have a day, let's say, to do all your errands and do everything. But one of those days, if your kids are school age, they're still in school, you have more time to spend on your leisure activities, more time to spend on physical fitness, taking courses, learning, a new hobby, things like that. there's been articles in Entrepreneur magazine, and they said that it improves retention, it increases access to a more diverse population. Parents, people with elderly parents who they need to be the main caregiver for, the 4-day work week gives them a little bit more flexibility and time to spend catering to their family's needs as well as to their work obligations. It employs people you can employ people with disabilities who may not be able to work the full 5 work days and may need a more condensed work week. Now, reverting back to one of the cons is that one of the arguments is that it's much harder after a 3-day weekend to quickly jump back onto the hamster wheel of life and work. That may be true, but on the flip side, you might be so well rested after that weekend that you are able to shift and focus right in and be more productive. So another study that was mentioned in Time magazine said revenues for companies that do offer 4-day work week rose on average of 18.4% and a 55% in comparison with the same period the previous year. That's pretty huge. They've also found that it has positive effects on the environment because people are commuting less, therefore creating less greenhouse emissions. More millennials and Gen Z are very supportive of the shift to a 4-day work week. However, most senior leadership teams are much less interested in the 4-day work week. Most of these people, in senior positions are from the traditional worker mindset. I was raised in this traditional worker mindset. You're on all the time, you work overtime, you never turn your phone off, you answer your emails and texts no matter what and no matter when. And I can tell you that for me, as a mom, as a caregiver of an elderly parent, and in the past 2 elderly parents, I'm torn between the traditional mindset and the new flexibility. On the one hand, I've always needed flexibility, and I completely give that same flexibility to my team. I think it's so important that they know that if they have a family emergency, family comes first. If they need to go to a doctor, go to the doctor. If you need to go for an exam or an x-ray, go, do it. It's all fine. And when I need you to answer an email at night or on the weekends, then I know you will, because it's all a matter of give and take.